Okay, hello everybody. So I'm going to start the second review video. I'm going to start with some more functions. And first thing I'm going to do is use our libname, which is one way to read in datasets. We also have infile. So difference between libname and infile. Using libname, do not have to manually input each column for the datasets. So that you'll be using infile on this week's homework most likely, or you should just make sure all the data is read in properly. But the other way is to use the libname and the class. And I will be using our EMP data. We use this for one of the homeworks. And I'll use that just to start off with and just show some information. So here we have our employee ID number, our last name, first name, our job code, and salary. We see there are two different types of job codes, and our salaries are right here. So I'm just going to start by using some data functions. So data temp1, so set class dot emp data, and then I will say where. And I just want to know where our job code is equal to pilot. So I'm going to call this temp p job code is equal to p pilot. Just wanted to make sure I spelled pilot right, and then run. So I'm going to change the name to temp p, and I will run this. So you see this where here only allows us to give the functions where our job code is equal to pilot. I could also use if here, if job code is equal to pilot, and I will get, as you guys see, the same thing. So there we go. So two different ways to go about this. And I'll also have a data set called all. If we set class emp data and then run. So I have two different, now I have all the data just in two different ways. So here I'm going to go look at our proc frequency, since that is the most common, that is one of the things we still need to look into. So proc freq data is equal to all. And I'm just going to run this since we know this is the basic model or the basic table. We see this gives us every possible thing. And here we have, we first look by employee ID, then go by last name, first name, job code, then salary. You know, the only one that really matters we should really look at is our job code. But that's, well, when I say we should really only look at job code is because we know all of these others only occur once. So it doesn't give us a bunch of information, but our job code here, we see actually gives us a 4 of each. We see the percent, the cumulative frequency, and then the cumulative percent. So at least we know what are four main things that we see out of our standard proc freq, our frequency, percent, cumulative frequency, and cumulative percentage. I recommend remembering all of those. So I'm going to continue with our proc freq. Data is equal to all tables, and I want to look at our job code, and then run. And you see right here, just looking at our tables, we only get our job code table from the past one. So that is what our tables do. Now I'm going to use our cross section analysis. So this right here is analysis differently. Instead of having our 4, like we did before, the 4 columns, it is now different. So salary. And we're going to see how this goes. Now we see that our job codes now have different titles. We now have frequency, our percent, our row percent, and our column percent. So this is significant. Remember, we had a percent, frequency, cumulative, frequency, and then one more. I forget the last one, but knowing what all four of these are very important. But the two that really change here is now we have row percent and column percent. And also here, we see that there's a total column, which tells us our total. And for our total column, we don't have a row percent or a column percent. That's just because it is the total. And we see, looking at this, we see that the for FL or flight attendant, which FLTAT stands for, are our four lower paying jobs, and our salary is our four higher paying jobs. And we could see the frequency that each payment amount occurs. And we can see the frequency at which all of the flight attendants get paid. So that is important to know in our Proc Freak. Now I'm going to show how to, still using our pilot for our temp P data. So data increase in pay, set temp P is just our pilots. Salary equal to salary divided by 6. And then run. And we should see that our salary is now a sixth of what it used to be. We see our salaries are significantly less since we have divided them all by 6. And we could also do this to multiply by 6 or multiply by 2 so the number doesn't get too large. Whoops, accidentally highlighted the top. So here we have multiply by 2 here, and we see this is double the salary. So if they doubled their salary, it is right here. And this is just some functions we could use in there. We could also create a new salary, which we did before, which is just salary times 1.02, we could say. And then this, we will see that this now adds on a column called new salary. And this is just our old salary multiplied by our 1.02. But notice that once we did our new salary here, it is using this salary function, the salary value right here, and not the salary value in our temp P. That's because we have already overwritten our salary value right here. So once we get to our new salary, it's using our overwritten salary value. And now I'm going to go to another way we could read in this data. So data temp underscore all, and then temp underscore pilot. So keep equals job code. So here I'm reading in two different data sets. In one, I want to have everything. In the second one, I just want to have our job codes. And I'm just using pilot just because that is the data set I'm going to use, our temp P. Then I'll be using run. And we see that we'll get two different values here. So here we're going to have everything just because it's going to read in our values right here from this function. And then here we will see that this function, it'll just have the job code pilot just because I am keeping only the job code. And the difference to syntax is here is that when I'm using our keep here, I need to put it in parentheses and have this equal sign. So running this. And we see this is our all. And then going over to pilot, we just see just the pilots. And remember the two different ways to look at our proc frequency. And also remember that if we don't specify which tables to look at, our proc frequency examines every single column in our data set. And some will be useful and some won't be. And then when we use our cross table, and that's by with the multiplication sign between the variables, instead of having frequency percent, cumulative frequency, and cumulative percent, we have frequency percent, row percent, and column percent. And this is useful when we're looking at the problem, if you know in our basic probability, our marginal PDFs or our conditional PDFs. So this can be really useful, especially if you have taken 120A recently. You would remember that. You would remember when I say you would remember that. I'm like, you're going to remember using a lot of these cross tables to find variance or other things. So I think that is going to be good for this video. I will probably do one more. I will see at least on Proctabulate maybe, or something else, and I'll see if anything else comes up on the forum that I posted, or the questionnaire. And if you didn't get the questionnaire for some reason and want to fill it out, email me and I can send you the link.